Ladies and gentlemen, today we're stepping into a topic that is often misunderstood, oversimplified, or avoided altogether. When we talk about why men need sex, the conversation tends to get reduced to stereotypes. Men are just physical. Men only want one thing. It's all about desire. But the truth is far deeper, far more emotional, and far more human than most people realize. Sex, for men, is not simply a biological urge. It is a language. It is a form of communication. It is a pathway to connection, identity, emotional safety, and even love. And understanding this truth doesn't only help men, it transforms relationships, strengthens marriages, and helps women understand the emotional world. Men often struggle to express with words. For many men, sex is not merely a physical activity. It is one of the most powerful ways they feel emotionally connected and loved. While women often express love through words, affection, or quality time, many men experience love primarily through physical intimacy. Sex becomes the place where they feel wanted, valued, and chosen. It is not about lust, it is about significance. When a man's partner desires him, it sends a message far deeper than "I want your body." It tells him, "You matter to me. I find you attractive. I choose you above all others." That emotional affirmation is something most men struggle to find in any other part of life. Society often expects men to be strong, stoic, and emotionless. As a result, men are rarely complimented, rarely touched, and rarely made to feel desirable. Sex becomes the one arena where they can feel emotionally seen and appreciated. This is why rejection in sexual intimacy can feel devastating to a man. It's not about being denied pleasure. It's about being denied emotional acceptance. When a man is consistently turned down, he may quietly start believing he's unwanted, unattractive, or insufficient. His emotional world is directly tied to his partner's desire for him. Many women interpret sex as a physical request, but for men, it is often an emotional question. Do you love me? Do you still want me? Am I enough for you? Inside a committed relationship, sex is how men feel closeness. It dissolves their stress, lowers their emotional walls, and allows them to be vulnerable. You may not hear a man say, "I feel unloved," but you will feel it in the distance he develops when intimacy disappears. Physical connection opens the door to emotional connection. Understanding this doesn't mean a man's needs are more important than a woman's. It simply means they're different. When women understand that sex is a man's love language, communication becomes easier, conflicts soften, and emotional connection grows. Intimacy becomes a partnership instead of a misunderstanding. And when a man feels loved in the way he understands love, he naturally gives more affection, warmth, and emotional openness in return. Sex isn't just something men want, it is how they feel loved, respected, and emotionally connected in their deepest relationships. For many men, sex is strongly linked to their sense of identity, self-worth, and confidence. While women often draw confidence from emotional connection, achievement, or feeling appreciated in daily life, men commonly experience a large part of their confidence through sexual acceptance from their partner. It is not because men are shallow or simple, but because sex touches a core part of how they measure their value in a relationship. From early life, society programs men to believe that strength, desirability, and masculinity determine their worth. Men are rarely praised for their gentleness, vulnerability, or inner qualities. Instead, they hear messages like, "Be strong, don't show weakness, be impressive, and prove yourself." As a result, many men grow up feeling that their value must constantly be earned and validated. Sex, in a committed relationship, becomes one of the few spaces where a man feels unconditionally valued. When his partner desires him, it reinforces his identity. "I am enough. I am wanted. I matter." This affirmation builds confidence not only in the bedroom, but in every area of his life. A man who feels sexually accepted by his partner often becomes more motivated, more emotionally secure, and more expressive. He feels more powerful, not because of ego, but because he feels reassured in his role as a partner. On the other hand, when sex becomes infrequent or feels like a chore, Many men internalize it as personal failure. They may silently question themselves. Am I not attractive anymore? Did I do something wrong? Has she lost interest in me? These are not questions of physical desire. They are questions of identity. When sexual rejection becomes consistent, a man's confidence may decrease, and his emotional presence may fade. He may become quieter, more withdrawn, or more insecure, not because he doesn't care, but because he feels disconnected from the foundation of how he receives love and affirmation. When a man feels sexually valued, his emotional world becomes stronger. He shows up differently, more affectionate, more attentive, more patient, and more giving. His partner's desire is not just physical approval, it is psychological nourishment. It validates his masculinity, strengthens his self-esteem, and reinforces his emotional bond with the person he loves most. In short, sex is not just something that boosts a man's confidence, it is a pillar of his identity and emotional stability. For many men, sex is not only an act of pleasure, but the strongest emotional bridge they have in a relationship. While women often build emotional closeness through conversation, affection, shared experiences, and emotional vulnerability, most men access that emotional world through physical intimacy first. Sex becomes the doorway that allows them to open up, feel safe, and form a deep emotional connection. Biologically and psychologically, men are wired to bond during sex. During intimacy, a man releases oxytocin, the same bonding hormone that strengthens trust and attachment. This hormone softens his emotional walls and allows him to feel closer, more connected, and deeply intertwined with his partner. In this moment, he is not just giving his body, he is giving his trust, his vulnerability, and his heart. This is why sex often symbolizes emotional unity for men. It is the moment where he feels accepted, valued, and emotionally safe. It reassures him that he and his partner are still connected, still one team, still choosing each other. Sex is not just something he wants, it's something that helps him feel in love. When sexual intimacy begins to fade, many men interpret it, not logically but emotionally, as a sign the bond is weakening. Even if nothing is wrong, he may start feeling distance, uncertainty, or fear that the connection is slipping away. He doesn't always have the emotional vocabulary to explain this feeling. Instead, he may simply grow quieter, more withdrawn, or more misunderstood. Women often assume men use sex to avoid emotional conversations, but in reality, sex is what makes emotional conversations feel possible for many men. Once the emotional bond created by sexual intimacy is reestablished, men naturally become more open, communicative, and affectionate. It doesn't replace emotional connection, it enables it. When a couple maintains a healthy sexual relationship, their emotional bond strengthens. Arguments soften more quickly, affection flows more easily, and mutual understanding becomes natural rather than forced. Physical closeness helps dissolve stress, rebuild trust, and remind both partners why they chose each other in the first place. In essence, sex is not just a physical act for men, it is the emotional glue of the relationship. It is the space where he feels closest, most connected, and most deeply bonded to the woman he loves.